on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is Sportsline.
Hey there, Sportsline on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on NewsChannel 5. Plus, football season is here. The Titans are on the field. Training camp underway. The first segment of training camp officially in the books. First day off comes tomorrow. Titans have spent the last 4 days on the field at St. Thomas Sports Park. You had a couple days without pads on, and then they put the pads on, started popping things yesterday, did it again today. And early indications are, I think, that you have a competitive, physical, determined roster. You have a lot of guys who are back. I think communication and just functions of the team are better this year than what they were a year ago when you had a new coaching staff and some new faces in there trying to learn all that. Now communication, now organization, much, much better. I think you've seen Marcus Mariota commanding the offense this year as opposed to just running it. Different from a year ago when he was learning under, at the time, new offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur. Art Smith has really kind of streamlined things and kept the things that they did well last year, tweaked some things for Mariota, and I think that's allowed him to just go out there and play this training camp so far. He was really effective yesterday. Today, I think he had a solid day. There was a bit more pressure, bit more confusion from the secondary today, but overall, I think Marcus Mariota has gotten off to a good start in training camp. A bummer is the fact that Derrick Henry pretty much walked off the field the first day, hasn't been back since. He's dealing with a lower leg issue. Reports are that he's been walking around the team facility in a boot. I don't think anything is very serious about that at this point, but obviously you want to see him out there. You want to see him running the football for this team and making the impact that we all know that he can make. I think some of the positives are, one, you get guys at the running back position that have to go make plays now with Henry out during training camp. It's more work for Dion Lewis, and you get some young guys. David Fluellen is bulked up, is getting more run at this point, coming back off of his knee injury. And then the young guys like Aaron Barnes, who had a prolific career at Kansas State, Jeremy McNichols, those guys have both shown flashes and ability to get into the open field at this point. I also think you see the competition that has been brought in at wide receiver. Corey Davis has been phenomenal through the first few days. Every day it seems like he's making some sort of a highlight reel catch. Yesterday it was over the top of Adoree Jackson. Today it's a one-handed grab over the middle with Malcolm Butler right in tail. He continues to make big-time plays worthy of being a number one wide receiver. But it's not just him, and that's the great thing about this Titans team. Adam Humphries signed that big 4-year, $36 million deal in the offseason. He has come in and proven to be slippery. That's how he got 76 catches last year in the slot in Tampa Bay. He's just difficult to defend, and he's had some great one-on-one battles with Logan Ryan, who's one of the best interior slot defenders in the National Football League. So it's Ryan making a play, and then Humphries getting open and getting a catch, and then Ryan making a play, and Humphries getting open and getting a catch. It is very much an iron sharpens iron thing for the Titans at that position right now. But I think Adam Humphries is going to be a huge addition for this offense because short yardage situation, third downs, red zone, he's just a guy that's going to find a way to get open. And you got to figure Marcus Mariota is going to find him in that case. And you throw in the addition, I'm going to say it's an addition because he didn't play at all last year because of that injury in week 1, but having Delanie Walker back gives you that as well. Now you have a tight end that you truly count on opposite Adam Humphries. So new weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and you keep going down that wide receiver position. Tajay Sharp, Taywan Taylor have both had their moments. They need to be more consistent, and I think they understand that because both of them have come out with a sense of urgency in this training camp. They're trying to learn new roles. They're making plays down the field. They are doing their best to set themselves apart. On paper and experience, they should be 4 and 5 on this receiver chain. But it's going to be a battle because Cameron Batson has played well in training camp. He won the offseason award for skill position players in terms of the work ethic and what he got done. He's been great in training camp so far. Darius Jennings last year set the NFL record for kickoff return yards in a season. He's going to be in the mix, if for no other reason than his special teams prowess. And you've got some young guys like Khalif Raymond who continually pop up out there on the field as well. But I think Tajay Sharp and Taywan Taylor understand that they're in a battle, and they've got to prove their worth, and they're trying to do just that right now. The bummer at the wide receiver position, kind of like Derrick Henry in the backfield, A.J. Brown just not available to this point. Bit of a tweak that he suffered the first day. Looked like a hamstring type of injury. Came up lame after running a route. Hasn't been out there since. You imagine that is just precautionary at this point and nothing too severe. But remember, we go back a couple of years ago to Corey Davis. He tweaks a hamstring early in training camp and was just never right. Missed most of the preseason, came back in week 1, then he was out again for a few weeks, and it was the second half of the season before you could truly count on Corey Davis being a part of the offense when he was a rookie. And that certainly slowed down his progress and his progression as a wide receiver and as part of this offense, that he's just really now getting over a year and a half, 2 years later. Now he looks like the guy that they drafted him to be as the number 5 overall pick. A.J. Brown, obviously a second-round pick, but big expectations for what he can do. They want to see him on the field here during this training camp. Of course, the biggest news of training camp is the fact that Taylor Lewan is facing a 4-game suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy, or PED policy. Got popped for taking some sort of a supplement that contained Osterin in it. He says it was unknowingly. It was about health and protecting the inflammation, specifically around the brain, something he was worried about in family discussions about life after football, and that's why he started taking some of the things he took this offseason. He also said that he tested positive in April, taking all of the same things, and then tested negative. He didn't have anything in his system in April. Then he tested positive for Osterin in May, taking all of the same substances. And the only way that can happen is you've got tainted substances. It's a bad batch. It's tainted somehow. And that's the unfortunate reality of dietary supplements. And as I think I said on the program last week when this news first came out, the reality is, whether you're talking about NFL players or professional athletes or Olympians or whatever, the idea that the Food and Drug Administration does not set forth real, legitimate regulations and standards for dietary supplements is mind-blowing to me. For all the things that they butt in and tell you what you need to do and regulate this and regulate that, the idea that the stuff that you can go into GNC or your local nutrition store and buy can possibly have stuff in it that is not legal. And that's what Osterin is. Osterin has no legal purpose. There is no substance in the world that can legally be sold with Osterin in it. So the idea that it can be in any substance, to me, is mind-boggling. And the fact that we don't have tougher regulations or stricter guidelines in terms of what these manufacturers have to go through and what they have to prove, in which something like that can be in a product when it's not on the label, is just crazy to me. And I don't know if Taylor Lewan knew what he was doing or did not. I'm not here to take a side on that. But the idea that that's even possible. I mean, Golden Tate is a Nashville guy, grew up in Hendersonville, went to Pope John Paul II. The idea that he got popped for PEDs, and he's saying that it has to do with the fertility drugs that he and his wife started taking this offseason as they're trying to conceive a child. And that pops you? There is too much gray area for an absolute rule like this in the NFL. And I get why the rule is absolute. You can't have guys cheating the game. But when they're doing things for family planning purposes or for their long-term health benefits, and they end up getting a product that's tainted or that contains something that violates the rule, it seems like we have to consider that a little bit more. So anyway, that's the big story up front. Roger Saffold's been worked in gingerly. He doesn't need to be out there every day. Ben Jones looks better this offseason. I think just healthy once again for him. Today you had Nate Davis working at right guard Kevin Pamphil's been there most of training camp up to this point. Jack Conklin at right tackle. Dennis Kelly's gotten a lot of work on the left side with Taylor Lewan absent. That offensive line is going to be expected to be one of the best in the league this year, and the Titans need them to be just that. Harold Landry's been really impressive on the defensive side of the ball. Second-year player, not just as showing his speed and burst off the edge in pass rushing situations, as, by the way, is Cam Wake at 37 years of age. He continues to get it done. But the thing that's impressive to me about Landry, and Mike Vrabel said so this afternoon, he said he's being asked to do more in his package this year. Last year, he was pretty much just a pass rusher. They went with his skill set there, but didn't ask him to be a complete football player. This year, if you watch, he's setting the edge, he's making tackles against the run, and he's even in pass coverage at times, showing that he has some ability to do that. Now, I think his most valuable asset is still going to be coming off the edge and rushing the passer, but the fact that he can do those other things shows some maturity. It's the evolution. It's kind of what we saw from Jayon Brown last year. I think what we saw from Rashaan Evans late in the season last year and what we hope to see more of this season for the Titans. I also think Amani Hooker should be pointed out. He's gotten some time as a third safety in the base defense for the Titans so far in training camp, and he's made some plays. Today he got an interception off of a tip ball downfield. He's been right out there. I mean, it's Kevin Byard and Kenny Vaccaro for sure as their starters in the secondary, but Amani Hooker looks like a rookie that was drafted on day 3 that maybe has a shot to make an impact sooner rather than later at the National Football League level. So lots to get to, lots of observations from out there. John and I went down some key things about the Titans this coming season last night on the Electric Power Company's Sunday Sports Central. Coming up next, we will dive in to Marcus Mariota, the predictions for this year in what is really a make-or-break season for the QB. What we expect from him. We'll get to that on the other side. Plus, phone lines are open, 737-7767. We're talking Titans. We're talking training camp. Back with more after this. This is Sports Line on News Channel 5+.